T. Mann, leading Emmy, served over 20,000 youth through speaking, coaching, and mentoring. He has inspired us for years. Welcome to Emmy TV Podcast with your host, Calvin T. Mann, the Encourager.
What's up? What's up? Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to EMIY, the most encouraging, inspiring, uplifting, solutions-driven podcast. We are always dropping jewels. Today is wine and relationships. And I don't mean wine, being whiny. Right? I'm talking wine. Today's choice is red Moscato in the red bottle. Right? And so I want to make sure that today that you jump in and get some of this information about love, right? All we need is love. Wah, 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 wah. Right? Today is 5 love languages, right? We're going to enjoy ourselves and sharing this information and making sure that you are loving. Who's loving you, right? Who's loving you? Who's moving you, right? Who's loving you? Today, 5 love languages, and we want to be clear that today the choice of wine is red Moscato. Any of you tough guys out there talking about you don't drink red Moscato, you're lying. You're lying. Right? So let's get right into it. My guest, as usual, my brother, my friend and brother, L Boogie. The queen is in the room. Heather Root. Hey, listen, she's having this beautiful August 29th is going down, women's conference, right? For the ladies, Crystal Gunn, Rochelle Morton, and Heather Miller is going to move the crowd. August 29th, 1 to 3, and more information is coming. We want to impact the women too. I'm always hearing about what you gonna do for the women, right? I don't hear it from the people close to me. It's the people that don't know me think I don't love women. Let me tell you, I got a story to tell. But I've changed. I'm a changed man. I'm happy in love, and this is what we're gonna take these 5 love languages and share them today, right? And really, Dave is in the building too. Can't forget Dave. Dave is on remote in the jungle. Right? And welcome, brother Dave. And man, listen, when today was about, when we decided, the 5 love languages, I started thinking about, right, what are the 5 love languages, right? And so we're going to get into those for those of you who don't know or haven't heard, or, you was at a bar somewhere or over your friend's house and somebody was talking about 5 love languages and you was pretending like you knew, like, yeah, me and my baby, yeah, we do all of them. Hey, yeah, we do all the 5 love languages. Oh, yeah? Which one? The 5. We do the 5. Right? And I personally, a few years back, discovered I was only rocking with 2. You know what I mean? I was, a few years back, when I was introduced to the 5 love languages, I was really only rocking 2. I thought I was the doo-doo. You know what I mean? I thought I was it. Like, yeah, I'm doing 5. I'm only doing 2 of the 5. Like, hold on. I'm whack, huh? All this time I've been pumping my ego. I ain't had nothing. So this is where you come in, queen of the Nile. We got family in the building, so I'm clowning. I'm just letting y'all know that right now. But we want to make sure that we get these things across. And so, Mrs. Miller, man.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Always nice to be in this good company with our intelligent, loving, considerate, and concerned brothers who want to keep our families together to keep that restoration of our families and each other intact. And that's one of the reasons why I love the METV podcast, and I love the people who are connected to it. So, hi, Dave. Just want to make sure I say hi to you first as we start off. Good to hear your voice and to see you on the screen.
Yeah, yeah. I always like that Hollywood word.
I'm very good. So, I want to first give proper credit to the author of the book called The 5 Love Languages: The Secret to Love That Lasts by Dr. Gary Chapman. And if you haven't gotten my book, 100 Ways to Keep Your Woman and Regain Her Love, or 25 Ways to Keep Your Man and Regain His Love, I would really encourage you to get those tools and really apply them to your life. So the process of change, if you're looking at your relationship and there are areas where you're stuck and you're trying to get new tools, let me just share that the process of change is a 5-step process. The first step in that process is new information. And so, sometimes we believe that we know everything about the things that we've been exposed to. So there's a difference between having the knowledge and being able to apply it, and having the knowledge to repeat it and not actually using it in your life. So one of those steps to change really is actually acquiring new information. And then the second part of that is the appreciation of that information. When you appreciate it, sometimes we have to look at the source of where we got something from for us to be motivated to actually apply the information. Like, no, that only came from so-and-so, and they were mad when they said, but the information itself is what is of value. Of value is not necessarily always the source. So when it's something that you need, you have to be more open to applying it, which is the third step. The third step in your process of change is application. Once you're able to apply that information, you are now in the position to transform yourself, transform your relationships. And then that final step, number 5, is to elevate to your next level. Elevate energetically, elevate to who you become, elevate to how other people see and receive you. That's what we're trying to do in this process. So when we talk about the 5 love languages, ultimately it's designed to make you better so that you become a better mate, a better friend, and have a level of understanding about this process of how we truly can love in new and exciting ways, and knowing ourselves first. So I do want to touch on what those 5 love languages are, and then we're going to kind of shift back and forth through the 5 as we go through today. So the first love language is words of affirmation or compliments. The second one is quality time. And of course, that's just spending time together. The third one is gifts. So people who love to give or receive gifts, that is a love language. The fourth one is affection. So wanting to be touched, wanting to be hugged, the gift of affection. And then the fifth one is, let me make sure I'm getting the fifth one. The fifth one is acts of service, which is my favorite. So the acts of service is how somebody meets you in your need and what you need help with to help you make it to the next step, make it to the next level, give you some peace of mind. So acts of service is what somebody can do for you and what you do for someone else, okay? Meeting them in that need. So that's an important part of understanding acts of service.
So Dave, I just want this to be clear that we continue what we're doing about, the solutions. So at this particular point, Dave, like, which one of those love languages you think you exude?
Probably quality time. If I'm with someone, they have my full undivided attention. Before I even discovered years ago about the 5 love languages, I'm very vulnerable. And then after he had written it, I knew that spending quality time was so essential, because that's the only way you can give all those other benefits. And quality time is not the amount of time, it's the investment time. So being able to sit with someone, it doesn't matter if it's your mate, children, your family. When I'm with someone, I'm an eye-to-eye kind of contact person. I learned to do the check and balance thing. When my parents told me I was a kid, you got to look people in the eye. That's what I did. I looked straight in the eye. And, that became a little intimidating. So you got to find that balance. But quality time is essential what I do.
You got a lot of energy.
And if not, I can move to the other back to service.
You got a lot of interference, Dave. So you might want to move closer to you.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. So I'll just keep it simple. Yeah. The first one would be quality time and then what I earlier.
Well, you know, you being the single brother, I'm putting you on the market today. Today. that must be the theme today, because I must have gotten 3 calls of people trying to line me up with somebody. So I called my mom. I said, "What's up today? Did all of a sudden now they got the fragrance of David in the air, and everybody just trying to put me on that? So hey, join the club today, bro." Okay, so good. So yours is time, right? So you got one of those things. I know you add those things in the process, right? The one, the 3 things that we gonna get out of this from me, right? As we go through this process, it's gonna come back to that, the touch, right? Because I think it's important. I was having this conversation yesterday, how important it is just to touch your mate, right? In passing, right? Or when you're talking to them, touch them and reassure them. Put your hand on their shoulder, right? Grab their hair.
Pull it.
Right?
Have a red exact top she got on now.
Right.
Right.
And so touch is such an important thing, because touch is really important to women. Now, there are women who say they don't want to be touched, and they lying.
Yeah,
but what it is
that is birth out of pissosity.
Right. they mad at the world.
All men that piss me off.
Yeah,
Don't touch me.
Right? Right. And it could be a lack of self-love too, because I'm not accustomed to someone really touching me. Everybody's been loving me this way.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But it's just so important for a woman in her womanness to know that her man touches her. Even if it's, grabbing her by the waist on walk by, right? Grabbing her hand, right? Even if this is in the middle of something, letting her know, grabbing her attention, touch her with your words, right? So I think that is such a huge piece, because those are the tools, right, that tears down walls. Mm-hmm. You have to have the tools. Everyone doesn't have the ability to understand how to move walls, right? And so that's just a tool that I found that I think is so important. Even when I was growing up. Come on, Dave, you come from a big family, right? You got the family, you come in, you see Auntie so-and-so, you see Heather, she got a big family. You got a big family. When you see Auntie so-and-so, the first thing you do, come on in here and give your auntie a hug, right? Hug your auntie. Don't you come on over here, right? And right away, the men pull you in. Boy, it's been a long time since I seen you. Come here, right? Today, we like this, right? Right? And that doesn't bring you together. And today we're more divided because of those things that we don't do. We are not really touching each other in a loving way through words, deeds, or actions, right? So I just wanted to throw that in there. So go ahead, Queen. Right?
So the 3 things I want to make sure that we leave with today are, first, that you know yourself so that you have a better opportunity to know your mate. Second, that you love yourself and you celebrate your self-love. And then the third thing is to make sure that as we are loving ourselves and knowing ourselves, that we're able to expand and heal. And what I mean by that is all those old wounds that are still very tender or open, that these are opportunities for those wounds to be healed. So part of what you mentioned, Calvin, about that touch, and for women, it's sometimes how we are touched, because a lot of women and a lot of men have experienced being touched inappropriately throughout their lives or when they were young, and those imprints are still there. So we have to be mindful and aware that the type of touch and how we touch and when we touch are not triggers for those memories, for those negative memories. So that's really important. So I'll just start with knowing yourself and then knowing your mate. So I like the 5 love languages because it gave me some additional insight into me. Which one of these were most important, and what I have uncovered in this journey is that all of them are important. All of them, however, may not be a priority at that moment. And so when you find yourself so I found myself over my relationships having a need for somebody to gift me with acts of service. So because I do a lot of community work, I do a lot of events, and I do a lot of those things. And in the past, I found that when you call somebody and ask for help, and they didn't come through, they didn't follow through, they didn't keep their word, or was nobody there, it left this void, and it made me have to get into this position where I have to do it myself. I can only count on me. And so it's all about me. So I have to move the tables. I have to stack the chairs. I have to take out the trash. I have to set this up. And when you have somebody in your life who understands and sees that, that is the need that I had. And so for people in relationships to be able to notice that and say, okay, well, I'm going to be here with you when you're going through this. I'm going to move those tables. That's an act of service for me. And once I had to come to grips with my understanding that some of my control issues were based on having to being put in situations where I had to make things happen, regardless if somebody showed up or not. And so sometimes you can get over controlling and you don't know how to release or share control. And so that's from that happening over and over and over again. So it was another place in me that I had to heal. When I talk about those wounds, that was a very painful thing to me when people who you love and care about, who you extend yourself to often, are not there for you in the same way. So that was a painful wound that stayed open until I was able to address that wound for myself. I had to heal that from the inside out, not the outside in. It wasn't something that somebody else had to do. It was something that I had to do. I had to allow people to be who they are. And I had to understand that who I chose to be in my circle had to be a part of their level of integrity. Your word. Can you keep your word? If you don't keep your word, then I can't count on you for that. And that's okay. I know my boundaries and my limitations with you.
But hold that thought right there.
Mm-hmm.
Dave, we talk about this all the time, right? When you talk about keeping your word. The other day I asked that question, right? I asked that question on Facebook, right? How good are you at keeping your word? Now, mind you, if we were good at keeping our word, a lot of things wouldn't look the way that they look, right? When me and you being soldiers in the game, right, doing the work, you was in the actual soldier, I was the actual community soldier, right? And we showed up consistently. We still do, right? But it is amazing, right, on people's word. Like, what is your insight about people and their word? You got to come closer, brother.
I'm as close as I can get to the computer. I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hold on. Let me just. Can you hear me?
Yep. We can hear you good.
Yeah. I'm as close as I can get unless I catch it.
Yeah, it's kind of muffled, but you're all right.
That's for something. Okay. So anyway, I think one of the big things when it comes down to keeping their word is sometimes people have fears. I remember my son said that one of the reasons that young people lie is because of the fact that they don't have trust. And I think a lot of times people start off with the good intention of being trustworthy, noteworthy, but after they get, as Heather said, after they've developed emotional scars, then people become a little more apprehensive. So their loyalty get compromised by the external things they experience. So I think it's so important that, as Heather started off about knowing oneself, in order to keep your word, you have to be able to keep your word to yourself. And many people are not even true to that. Classic example would be every New Year, somebody said they're going to lose weight, right? And then, then after 3 months into it, they don't even keep their word to themselves. So it's important, I think, that when we learn how to understand who we are, then it becomes more easier to maintain your own integrity. And that's what it comes down to, your own integrity, not because of what other people do. As I tell my son, it's not what they do, it's what you do, because you're the one got to look at you every day.
Right. Okay. Go back to where you was at.
So the other part of that coin, in terms of knowing yourself and knowing your mate, is recognizing what their triggers are as well. Looking at if you can prioritize your 5 love languages. Like I said, my first one is acts of service. My second one is actually affection. And it took me a long time to even come to grips with the fact that was number 2 on my list. But, as I moved through relationships and that sense of being able to trust somebody with you, helped that for me to emerge as one of my love languages. And so that's the first thing that I look for. So when I look at my mate, what is their love language? And so what is their priority? So mine is acts of service first, but somebody else's might be quality time. And so how do you match something that is, one, not your priority? And so what I think we tend to love people how we want to be loved, not necessarily all the time like they want to be loved or need to be loved. And that's kind of where we can look at the love languages to help guide that. So how do you want to be loved? How does your mate want to be loved? What kinds of clues are they sharing with you to tell you that my love language is affection as my primary love language? What are they saying to you? Well, you don't kiss me, you don't hug me, you don't, and everything that they're talking about has to do with physical contact. So we're not making love like we used to. We're not, we don't have these intimate moments like we used to. When you hear those cues, that's saying to you, okay, my love language is affection, and it's not being met. So that's when we step back and we look at, okay, so though mine is acts of service, his love language is going to be affection. So what do I need to do to change to make sure that I'm offering more affection? And some of the things that Calvin talked about, doing the walk-bys and offering touch and kissing when you part or kissing when you see each other, actually showing, giving them a hug. Those things are important too. They may seem like small things, and if you're not a real affectionate person, and being asked to do those things, it's just baby steps. So where can you make where's your comfort level? If your comfort level is more of a hug than a kiss, some people, I used to be really apprehensive about public displays of affection, and
Not
I just
anymore.
well, I am married, so that makes a difference. That was all, but that was something that was important to me because I know I am a public figure. And I also know that I've mentored a lot of young women, and I didn't want them to see me doing something that I asked them not to do or to be mindful of for their own lives. So I was really, really paying attention to that. And so I think that's important too, what you do and how your children witness how you, what your display of affection is, because that's the model that they're going to use back to how they express it to you, but also how they express it as they get older to their girlfriends and mates and potential partners. So I think that's important.
So how do you see love, right? So it's 5 love languages, right? It's 5 of them. So these 5 love languages, here they are, they fit. Okay, so I know I got to exude at least 3 out of 5. Right? Your brother was batting 2, so I know I got to do at least 3 out of 5, right? And what has happened is if you can get to all 5, you've improved your life and your peace. So, for an example, L, when you go home, when you come through the door, are you being greeted to get some sugar? You see what I'm saying? So that process is real because that's your first signature to drop everything on the outside of that door, because that greet right at the door for that sugar suddenly brings you into peace. I'm in my home in peace, right? A lot of times that's not the case, right? We've been beefing. I had this conversation the other day. Do you send your girlfriend or your wife, right, a text message just for the hell of it, right? So one of the things you're going to come away with me is foreplay all day. If you can't give her what she needs, right, she might need an ear. She might need a touch. She might need a gift. She might need a motivational speech. She might need she might need a hug, right? Compliments all the time, right? So that's your part. But you hear brothers all the time, hey man, we ain't having sex no more. Okay, so that's what's up. So tell me what you doing? Oh man, she just, man, she don't want to have no sex no more. I said, man, let me ask you a question. You married, ain't you? Yeah. Okay, so you married. Isn't it called making love? Oh, Cal, there you go on that bullshit, man. You tripping. No, isn't it called making love? Well, yeah. So what part are you making in this love? What are you doing to get the result that you want? Right? So if you got 5 love languages, you can get all the booty you want. But the problem is, you're not focused. So you can't get no booty meat. Right? Hey, Dave, it's not going down. You know what I mean? It's not going down. So because you can't get nothing out of dry root. Nothing but dust. So my point is, that's one of the things you're going to come away with this is you have to be in foreplay all day. This is your partner, not somebody you got to beef with all the time, not somebody you got to argue with all the time. It's negotiation. It's consensus. It's today I'm gonna compromise. It's today I'm flirting the whole day. Like she ain't gonna get a break, right? It's caring about the person who brings you the peace. Peace of mind, peace of heart, peace of booty, right? All the things that you want as a man. You see what I'm saying? That's why that's so important, right? So it's foreplay. Take that game and don't ever throw it away. Foreplay all day. If you're not foreplaying with your woman, it's a good chance she ain't gonna be around too long.
Let me inject this, guys. You put that out there, but I got this kind of sense of this. This is my perspective. Communication creates stimulation. Stimulation creates motivation. Motivation creates anticipation. So there's an art of communication. So everything you said is spot on. But I'll go back to what Heather said. Who's on the same page. Self-examination and self-understanding helps with all these areas we're talking about with the 5 love languages. First and foremost, because I told you, everybody's a walking book with the first 3 chapters. Many people get together and they really don't have good communication. Now, let me tell you about this piece where I'm talking about communication. I'm not talking about we sit around and talk chit chat, or we talk about what's going on with current events. I'm talking about sitting down and getting to know the individual you with. If you don't spend time to know her story or his story, and I'll be biased here, I know we work on the ideal that men are the ones that don't do X, Y, Z, but this works both ways because, again, everybody comes from different backgrounds. So it's essential as we talk about these same things, talk about booty, and my mother likes looking at the football players' booty, So so you know what I'm saying. Look at Heather, she do too.
That's
So
all right,
so
brother.
so so everybody wants some booty, right? But even when they're 80, they want some booty.
Right.
It makes the
Like you're
game.
saying.
It makes the game.
Yeah. So when you're doing that, but a lot of times we get together and we have external motivation. He looked good, she looked good, he got this, she got that, and we miss out. Then we get together and we find commonalities. We start talking. Oh, you like that too? I like that too, and we move again. And then next thing you know, comfort zone get there. Next thing you know, y'all get busy. So you get busy, now you think there's a bond that came. But now all of a sudden the communication changes because it's all superficial. It never gets into the depth. It's all on the surface of the water, not at the depth of under the water for the iceberg. So unless people sit down and start talking about real issues, and you got to be comfortable about talking about your past, because your past can be the thing that impedes you in your present to move you forward in your future. So it's so important and so essential before these 5 love languages can even work. One has to self-examine themselves. And most of the time, people are afraid to look in that mirror. Because if you clear out all that garbage you got, then now you can sit down, as the old saying go, empty your cup. Once you empty your cup and you're ready for a fresh cup, now we getting somewhere. And what happens is, you talked about walls. We got all these walls up. And we sometimes don't let them down. Men won't let them down. Women don't let them down. And a lot of our communication is primitive. We talk about things that are so outdated or so not applicable to our relationship that we don't never get to these points. So you're right. Those pieces you're talking about, Cal, that's when people really have taken time to know themselves, to get to know their mate. And I'm talking about real issues. I ain't talking about all this fluff, even if it hurts. And I think that's where a lot of times we don't want to discuss real issues. Then all of a sudden, when you get in the argument, you don't know where it comes from. Well, people harboring all this pain and this suffering, this anger, they hurt themselves from being able to effectively communicate and enjoy their relationship. Because the primary objective is when 2 people come together, they're supposed to be one. Why are you attacking yourself? If I'm one with you, I'm attacking. If I'm attacking you, I'm attacking me. If you attack me, I'm attacking you. I mean, if I'm attacking you, you're attacking me. Anyway, I'm getting tied up on it. But the point is that we got to be careful how we communicate, because that's the whole piece that's going to change everything that we do in these 5 love languages.
So you know what, Dave? Exactly. But you know what's funny is now here's the part to the love language, right? Here's the part to your love language that you really got to let go. It's your ego, right? Because your ego, you have mastered setting up situations for yourself, for you to win. So in dating, I can ask so many questions, and okay, I can see that she has a flaw or he has a flaw, and so I can let my ego, because sometimes we don't put down our ego. Sometimes the thing that we actually looking for is the out of the relationship, because we really not sincere about how we really want to be in this relationship. So I'm good at breaking this relationship. So here's how I'm gonna do it. I've done it consistently. Once she gets or he gets to wall 3, that means she's 2 or he's 2 walls away from really discovering who I am. This is where I give you the junk. Because my ego will not allow you or me to be authentic, not just with myself. We'll put words and things in places and place that judgment on someone that cares for us, that might be interested in us, and know that we can move them a certain way, but we block that because our ego jumped up in our communication. And so right away, nope, I don't need. Man, I don't even want to go into, but I had somebody in my life that every time somebody got close to him, right, they run. And it was clockwork. It was consistent. Even when they put engagement rings on the person, they run. I said, oh, so you really want a robot. You want her to be a robot. You done put a ring on her. But now you done discovered, oh no, she don't want. So you comfortable over here in the mess, but you uncomfortable over here at giving yourself the best. Love is the best thing for your life. Love is something that God gave us that we have to not only internalize, but let it exude outside of our being. Love is something that changes the environment. Look, you could walk in the door and your love shifts the whole entire ego. And so when it comes to that, because we're very, very clever and crafted. Hey man, I'm guilty of this. I'm very, very clever and crafted with my words. So I use my words for the wrong thing. So I was a great escape artist. Here's where I go. You see what I'm saying? This is my turn to exit, right? So no, I just really think that me and you, we just not gonna work out, and I truly appreciate it. I didn't get everything I came to get, but my ego was looking for that out. You presented, you really just too argumentative. So I really just, but not realizing the only reason why this person is this way is because I poorly gave them love. I didn't give them the 5 love languages. I only gave them a couple of them so I can get in and do what I had to do and then look for my way out. And as I was finding, okay, this is where I get off at. That's ego. But go ahead.
So my second key that I'd like to discuss is around the idea of self-love, but also celebrating that. I think where we sometimes fall short is that we get to a new place in our lives and we don't celebrate that. We kind of downplay it, like, yeah, I've gotten through my fear of meeting somebody new because of whatever my backstory looked like. And so I've gotten over that fear. So how do I celebrate me? How do I celebrate this new level of love that I am achieving? Well, one of the tools that you can use to celebrate yourself is to do something just for you. Have a spa day. Celebrate your achievement of healing those open wounds, or have a spa day. Do something that is an elevated level of self-love. Go to one of those workshops that is talking about something that you may not have considered before.
Ding, 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 ding. Workshop. August 29th, 1 to 3.
Or pick up that book. Listen to that message, that YouTube message that resonated with you. Celebrate you, investing in you. So investing that time, finish the book, finish the goal, invest in you. So part of self-love is the investment that you put into your next level, helping you reach it and also celebrating when you get there.
That's beautiful. And so when you speak of investing in you, we did that, right? Let's get over to this we did physical touch, acts of service. Let's get over to the receiving gifts, because I need me a Benz. I can't love you unless you buy me this Bentley. It's not going down, right? If you can't buy me no Bentley, if you can't put a ring that's as big as my eyeball on my finger, you ain't the one. I need me a 6-figure man. Right? Right? So gifts. Let's talk about gifts. What do gifts look like?
Okay, so the importance of understanding the love language of gifts, giving and receiving gifts, is that it's not about materialism.
Thank you.
The gift is about understanding why somebody would want a Bentley. What does that really mean? What is the need or the desire under that? So maybe the desire really is to feel important. And so the gift that you give has to do with helping the person feel a level of importance to you. Not necessarily that, it's an outward gift for everybody to see, but if their real need is to feel important, to feel a sense of belonging, to feel like I'm special, then the gifts that you give are around helping somebody to feel special. So you meet them in the need, not the material item. And so a gift like that, maybe a sense of importance for them might be, as opposed to a Bentley, maybe it's something with their name on it. Maybe you have their name written in calligraphy, or have it put in a form of lights. They have those little symbols. So if I'm a bowler, I can have the little bowling icon with the person's name on it. That's a more considerate and thoughtful gift. It doesn't have to be something that's very material, but what it is the show of importance, the show of care that just reflects and recognizes me and my individualism.
Man, you tripping. he that cheap ass ring he bought, he could take that cheap ass ring back. That goes back to the self-love and all the other stuff, but my point for highlighting the giving, right? Everything in this process is about a gift. Here are my gift of words. Here are my gift of touch. Here's my gift of physical gift. Here's my gift of affirmative words. Here's my gift. What's that? Here's my gift of acts of service. So if it's receiving gifts, if you are applying these 5 love languages, you're giving gifts anyway. But you have to be receptive to understand that this is truly a gift to you. So, as I was saying, to the process of how love, touch, acts of service, receiving gifts, compliments, physical touch. So that's beautiful. Dave, would you like to add there?
I think Heather said it correct, but as you were saying this, I knew you was gonna do what you did. You came. That's a Calvin gonna get on this, because that sounds nice in theory, but now what we're trying to get to with people is to get them where there's some reality. And all these 5 languages, to me, do one thing: they express and show value. How do you value people? That's why I think what Heather was going, showing that individual they have value or have purpose in their life and they have meaning. And each one of these 5 love languages is an expression of that, some form of fashion. And we kind of flow through them, whether we know them in depthly or we don't know vicariously, we flow through them anyway at some point at some time. But I think a part of what Calvin presented in my thinking was, as he was talking, is about maturity. A lot of times, and this is no slap in anybody's face, there's a level of maturity that changes the way you value things. A younger guy at 19 might think that, physical touch is all about sex, but as you mature, let's think about the people who are couples and they're in their 80s. They may or may not be engaging in physical activity like that, but the touch is important because they're showing each other their value. So you see the little couples walking down the street holding hands. That's physical touch. What they're expressing is their value to each other. I value him, she values me, blah, blah, blah. That acts of service. One of the things I do with a lot of the females I know, they get flowers every month, like clockwork. They're going to get that the double dozen because that's just my style. Receiving the gift, but I'm not giving them the flowers just to say I'm a good guy, but I want them to know that they have value. And so when we look at these things, if the guy say, I want a Bentley, he want a Bentley and he asks it from a girl that works at Burger King, that might be a little tight. But, I've known girls who will strive to try to go out and get something of that caliber, right? To the best of their ability. They broke as a joke. They walking on crooked over shoes. My man driving something as close to a Bentley as you can get. But somewhere along the line, there's lack of maturity, on his end and her end. So that's, again, comes back to how we communicate, how we know ourselves. So, yeah, this is work in progress. 5 love languages work in progress.
Yes, it's work. It takes a lot of work. I heard my son's mother say yesterday, marriage is hard. It's a lot of work. It's not easy. right? And
I don't know who you talk to.
right, and it really is work, but it's also a lot of other things, right? The one of the biggest things you need to understand about marriage is a merger. It is a merger because God said you must become as one. So it's a merger. It's a merger of your spirit. It is a merger of your kindness. It is a merger of your touch. It is a merger of your love. It's understanding that you're a good dad. So you're a good man, right? And I should validate that. So people was talking. Hey, Dave, it was funny. Somebody was telling me, like, somebody said the other day. I'll never forget. Man, I ain't got to be validated. You know what I mean? I ain't got to be validated because, I said, oh yeah. I said, okay. So you don't have to be acknowledged, huh? Yeah. I said, okay. So let me explain something to you. When you put a post on Facebook and somebody click like, that's a validation, right? Man, I can care. I say, but why you post? Right? When you look over to your girl and you tell your girl I love you, she ain't gotta say I love you back, huh? Cause that's what you looking for. But she ain't gotta validate that, huh? Man, Cal, you on some. I say, hey man, you gotta expand your mind. And the first place you need to expand your mind, and everybody better get this, every man and woman that I know that's listening, you better pick up some books. Get yourself some tools. Stop walking around here thinking that you know it all. That you just, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And she better so and so, and she better be submissive, right? Because this is what I say, hey, my man, you got to go a little deeper. You need some more tools. You can't be out here yelling and screaming. She got to be submissive, but you ain't got to do nothing. That is the dumbest analogy there is. So she got to do everything, but you don't have to do nothing. So we back to the 5 love languages. So, Dave, what do you want to leave? We're going to close here in a minute. So you got closing remarks, brother?
As always, my thing is the art of developing understanding with self and others and communication to begin to move into participation. As you said, most people, when they graduate high school, they stop right there. And where everything else is picked up like a tumbleweed, they just pick up things along the way. And a lot of times it's not dug deeply to get real meaning or understanding of the words they use. So as you showed him through your analogies that you needed validation. And like people say, I don't need nobody. I don't need this. I don't need that. And as my man said earlier, a book said earlier, hey, that's just pessimism. I think that's how he said it, something like that. People pissed off. And so they talk out of that anger and they talk out of it. Yeah, to be pissed. And so they use these terms or these views, they present these views that if you dug deeper, I always like to say, the problem ain't the problem. You may see that when a person walks into the doctor's office and say, my belly hurt, first, people always point in the wrong place. But anyway, they say my belly hurt. And then as the doctor goes on, we find out what you thought was the problem, dug deeper with more examination, you find the real problem. So a lot of those things, Calvin, you presented is true. When people turn around and say, I don't need validation, I don't need this ain't important, that important, or she should do this and do that. Most of that's talked about, with all due respect, is out of ignorance. We all ignorant in something. Everybody don't have everything down and don't know everything. So it's essential, as you said, the more you expand your vocabulary, understand the meaning of the words you use, then it makes you be able to exercise these 5 love languages a little more clear because you have definition to the words that you're using.
Yes, sir. Queen?
I just want to kind of quickly wrap up with giving some examples. So, words of affirmation or compliments. You look beautiful today. I love the way that you think. I value our time together. Those are words of affirmation. Those are words of compliment. So, and it could be as easy as, wow, you smell good. Or, you're one of the most thoughtful people that I know. You're a good mother. You're a good father. it's the validation that you spoke of. So we have to make sure that we're using some of the tools in positive ways. Now, I'm always talking about frequency and vibration. I'm not going to go quite there today, but those positive words also are healing for you too. This is part of your healing process. So your thoughts, your words, and your actions or your deeds also help to keep you healthy and healed. When you use those positive things and all of these positive tools that we're talking about, the love language is not just outwardly, it's for your good health. These good things keep you in a good place. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually, they keep you in a good place. So quality time may be at the end of our day, we sit down, we have a cup of tea, and we talk about how it was today. What was good about today? What was good about what good came out of today? Did you accomplish everything you wanted to? Having that time where you're using it productively. That is that walk that you talked about, holding hands, a walk around the block. Take a ride together. Pick him up from work. Pick her up from work. Have these opportunities. Create these moments where what you do, it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a 5-star restaurant. Let's go get some ice cream. That's my favorite activity personally. Let's go get some ice cream.
Sound like my wife.
Just something as simple as that. It's our time together. Those things are important for quality time. We talked about gifts, but I also wanted to give some other examples of gifts. A gift could be, this was your favorite meal. I want to make sure you have it today. A gift could be, I know you like this. We were talking about George Benson earlier. I know you like this George Benson cut, so I got the CD for you, and I got this particular track, and I text you this particular track that I know is one of your favorites. This is something that you love. I want you to have it. Those are ideas of gifts. You're listening. It's another one of my languages that I love to, I've learned to value because somebody else values that in terms of the gifts that are given. The acts of service. When you know somebody, maybe somebody works and they do real hard physical labor. Maybe your act of service is making sure that they have that hot bath, that they have a nice hot oil rub, that their shoulders and their feet are taken care of, because those are the things that they rely on for the type of work that they do. Those kinds of acts of service are important. Maybe it's somebody who just doesn't have the energy to make the bed or have the energy to cook dinner today. That's an act of service when you provide that. And finally, we're talking about touch, right? The other ways that you can touch. We talked about that. Hugs, kisses, a pat on the back, an affirmation with how you touch somebody, and being mindful that touch is going to be varied, and paying attention. If somebody is not receptive to how you're touching them, don't continue to touch them that way. Honor how they need that touch. Other ways that you can touch, maybe the bath, maybe other ways that you massage somebody's hand, or those areas when they say, okay, can you scratch my back? That's a form of touch. That is another way that we can show those 5 love languages. So any of these examples, and of course we can think of so many more, it's the idea of exploring it and keeping open to those explorations.
Thank you both. Everything we do is about the restoration of family, right? We look at these things in terms of what is really missing. Your 5 love languages really are important. It's important to your family. As I was sitting here, I was resonating in my love language, what my life has been like, where it's going. I was resonating with Dave and Heather and Elle, and how having a good life, it does take work. A lot of times we might sell ourselves short and do something for someone that we know is never going to reciprocate. But that's a win for you. The individual mindset has impacted so much of the community that everything has become me, my, I. It's about what I need. It's not about what you need. It's about what we need. We see so much division, and we look at it in a way that is, we always want to put some type of thing to it. So we want to put aces to it. We want to put these things to it. But let's look at it in a simplistic form. If I give you these gifts of service, of touch, of time, right? If I give you these gifts, I believe that we could shift how we look at family. I'm always looking at how we look at family. I shot my cousin. My cousin killed my cousin. My uncle shot and killed his son. Right? My auntie set her uncle on fire. Right? So when you get into this dynamic, it is us not valuing or doing these love languages that work. So here's what I did. Family, as I was sitting here, the F is for frequently. The A is for acting. The M is for mature. The I is in. The L is love. Yearly. You have to constantly repeat these love languages to your people, to your family, to your loved ones, to your community. We have to get out of the mindset that the only accomplishment that we must have is being rich. The only thing that says that we are important is having a mansion. The only thing that says I'm worth any value is driving a Bentley. I will take the 5 love languages and apply them to my family. I'm going to work at being better and apply them to my family. Right? It started with me because I pray and I fast. You can do the same thing. The formula is working for me. The first 7 days every month, just pray and fast and apply to whatever that fast is to your family. Apply it to your children. Apply it to your economics. But more importantly, apply it to your words. Give this gift to your wife today. Give this gift to your husband today. Let them know truly how valuable they are with these 5 love languages. And I guarantee you, you can win. You know my motto, foreplay all day. My name is Calvin Mann, president and founder of Encourage Me I'm Young. I truly, truly love you and appreciate you. I sacrifice in prayer and in love for my world to be better. Lord, I thank you, and I thank you for your time. Remember, put your family first. Peace.
Even if it go from bad to worse, you still